If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Blog Talk Radio.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Women of Golf Show. I'm your host, Ted Odorico, and normally alongside, from the get-go with me is, of course, my co-host, LPGA Professional and Legends Tour player, Cindy Miller, but she's going to be a little bit delayed starting here this morning. Of course, she just got back from the French Lick Resort in Indiana, trying to get into the Senior LPGA Championship that's being held there. And she's going to give us a little bit of an update on how that went and just some other things as well. But she's going to be running a little bit late, got in very late last night, and then as I understood from her email to me that she's heading to Orlando, so she's on her way, I believe, on a flight or getting ready to go to a flight there. So she'll be a little bit late joining the program this morning, but not to worry. But I want to welcome all of you for joining us here on the Women of Golf Show each and every Tuesday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the blogtalkradio.com network. And quickest way to find us, of course, is go to blogtalkradio.com/Women of Golf, or just simply type Women of Golf up in the search key, and you can listen to the live broadcasts, which air 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern every Tuesday, unless we indicate otherwise. And for those of you that are not able to join us on the live broadcast or join us during the live broadcast on Tuesday mornings, not to worry, just visit that link and scroll down to the on-demand section, and you'll see all of the previously aired broadcasts there in their entirety, as, of course, all the shows are previously recorded and there for your convenience. So just simply scroll down there through the on-demand section and find the one that you missed, or maybe listen to ones that you've listened before and just want to refresh your memory with some of the on-air talent that we've had here over the last several years. Also, for those of you that maybe are interested in listening through iTunes or Stitcher.com, of course, the program is available there. So just go to iTunes.com or Stitcher.com, and again, just type in Women of Golf in the search key, and you will find us there as well, for those of you that like to listen on those platforms. But we're glad that for those of you that are joining us this morning here on the program. A little bit later in the show, we're going to be joined by Gia Bocra Liwski. She's a Class A LPGA teacher professional and founder of Golf Experiences for Her. She's going to be joining us in the second half of the show. And as I mentioned, when Cindy does come on board, we're going to talk a little bit about her experience and on her run for a spot in the inaugural Senior LPGA Championship that is being held at French Lick Resort in French Lick, Indiana. I've not been there, but as I understand from both Cindy and other guests that have been on the show that have played there, that it's a phenomenal course, very, very challenging up there. So I'm sure it's going to be presenting some interesting challenges, to say the least, for some of the senior LPGA members there. But anyways, what I thought I would do in the meantime, also let me just very quickly before I forget, for those of you who want to call in anytime during the live broadcast, you're welcome to do so. The number is area code 347-945-5855. And for those of you that maybe have comments or questions about the show, or maybe you're somebody in the golf profession and you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can do so by reaching out to either Cindy or I. My email is ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. And Cindy's, of course, is cindy@cindymillergolf.com. What I was going to say is, for those of you want to tune into my other program, Golf Talk Live, that airs Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Central here on the blogtalkradio.com network, or 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern for those of you right out on the East Coast. Again, same way to find me, go to blogtalkradio.com, and instead of typing in Women of Golf, type in Golf Talk Live. What's interesting and unique about that show, of course, it's a generally based golf program. We usually start out with a great round of Coach's Corner, which is a panel discussion where I host a number of highly talented golf professionals from all over the United States and abroad. And each week we have a different topic, or sometimes a couple of topics that we'll tackle, and we'll try to see what some of the options are. And in some cases it might be just a conversation. Other times it might be information that we hope will help you guys out there work through some of the difficulties or struggles that you might be having with your game. So make sure you tune for that. And then also in the second half of the show is normally where I do my guest interviews, and had a lot of great guests. Now, just a quick note, this Thursday, which is July 13th, I will not be having a show as I will be mid-flight on my way to New York. I'm going to New York for a few days rest, if you will. From what, I'm not sure, but I'll be taking a rest up in New York. My partner Carol and I are going to be heading up there for a few days. It's her birthday this weekend, so we're going to head to New York for the weekend, and a long weekend rather, but nevertheless have a good time. But anyways, again, I want to thank you guys for joining me. Now, a couple just quick notes while I wait for Cindy to come on board here. She might be a few more minutes yet. Just want to bring to your attention a couple of things. This past Thursday, which was July 6th, on Golf Talk Live, my Thursday evening show, had a great interview for those of you that maybe didn't pick it up with Michael Vaughn. He's the sales manager at the PGA Tour headquarters, and also the 2017 President's Cup as well. And really great interview. Now, what's interesting about Michael is Michael played for several years throughout a number of mini tours throughout the United States, and was, I guess, had his quest for his card that didn't quite make it to the PGA Tour, but had an opportunity to play with some great players and share some very interesting stories last Thursday. So if you didn't happen to get that, go to blogtalkradio.com/Golf Talk Live, or as I mentioned before, just type in Golf Talk Live and up in the search key, and just scroll down to the on-demand section, and that will be last week's show. So for those of you that didn't get a chance to listen to it, was a very interesting interview, shared a lot of good information, and talked a little bit about the 2017 President's Cup that's going to be coming up this fall. The dates are September 26th to October 1st. He's going to be, of course, present there, and he's still working on getting a few last-minute sponsors there. So if you want to learn more about that, go to presidentscup.com. That's presidentscup.com. And if you're interested in getting tickets, there's going to be very limited access to this, as the golf course up in New Jersey that it's being played at has very limited capacity as far as fans are concerned. Normally they try to get 50,000 a day. I think that number is going to be somewhere around 25, maybe 30 at best, if I recall the conversation. So there are still some tickets available. So if you're interested in attending the event in September, by all means, go to presidentscup.com for that. What I thought I'd also do here this morning, as I said, while I'm waiting for Cindy to come on board here, is over the last several years, I don't have all of them here in front of me, but I've got quite a few of them here. And I thought I would just read out some of the great books that have been sent to me over the last several years. A lot of them, of course, were guests that were on Golf Talk Live, but there were a number of them as well that were guests with Cindy and I here on the Women of Golf show. So I just wanted to read out a few of them because they're very, very good books. And if you're interested in getting copies of them, I'll tell you, primarily most of them you can get on Amazon.com is probably the premier spot now for most people launching their books. It's just a very easy venue, if you will, for or method for people getting and ordering books. But I'm just going to read out a few of them and read out to you also who authored the books. One of the first books here I've got in my hand is called The Missing Link. It's the powerful role of self-talk in the mind game of golf. And it was put together by Alicia Larson. She's a Class A LPGA professional. She's been on both the Women of Golf, and also with me alone on Golf Talk Live. Very, very good book. Talks really about again, it's in its title, the powerful role of self-talk and just how important that can be. A lot of you golfers out there, I know you're struggling with your game, and you get out there and it's very difficult to have a positive mindset sometimes. This is a great book to get. So go to Amazon.com and you can get your hot little hands on a copy. It's called The Missing Link, The Powerful Role of Self-Talk in the Mind Game of Golf. I believe if you just type in The Missing Link and Alicia Larson, and it's Alicia is Alicia, Larson, Larsen. I think that should bring that up. And it's a great book. The foreword was written by Shad Helmstetter. He's a PhD. He wrote the foreword in her book. Very, very interesting book, to say the least. Another one as well that we actually I had on my show Golf Talk Live with me was a book called Back on Course, Drive Business Performance Through Golf. And this is really a great, for those of you that maybe have your own business or are in the business world and are thought about maybe incorporating golf in part of your business life. This was written by Connie Charles and Dave Bisbee, of course, that have been guests on Golf Talk Live with me. Forward was by Bill Hughes, who's a master professional and PGA of America and general manager at TPC Sawgrass. It's a great book. I strongly recommend that you get a copy of that. And again, I believe it's available through Amazon.com. Another great book that was on my show was called Golf is My Life, Glorifying God Through the Game. And this was written and edited by, it was written by John Decker and edited actually by Pete McDaniel, a former senior writer for the Golf Digest. And John has also been on not only as a guest on Golf Talk Live, but has become this year a featured guest on the Coach's Corner panel on Thursday nights. He's been a regular guest each month. He's been coming back, and of course he is a golf instructor as well as an author and motivational speaker. And he's currently touring around parts. I think he's up and around, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's up in North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, was the last I remember seeing him, but doing this book tour right now, moving quite a few copies of this book. It's very, very good, very well written. I strongly recommend it. And again, I believe it's available at a number of different bookstores, but I believe you can also just go to Amazon.com to get a copy of it there. Also, another gentleman that's been on the Coach's Corner panel as a regular guest is Brandon Stooksbury. He's a PGA professional at Macon, Georgia, and at the Idle Hour Golf Club there. And it's called The Wedge Book, an owner's manual for your short game. Very well-written book. Not a huge book, not overly thick, but a lot of great information there. Brandon, of course, is a great golf professional and a master at the short game, particularly with the wedge game. And he's going to be coming out this fall, as he mentioned on one of the shows back a little while ago. The putter book is going to be coming out here in the fall sometime. I'm not sure the exact date. He said he'd let me know. But that's a great book as well. Let me just bring on Cindy. Of course, Cindy's here with us now, so let me just bring her on the show.
Good morning.
Welcome, my dear. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Cindy, I was just reading out, I don't know if you were able to listen to anything in that, but I was just reading out a few books that that have been on the show. A lot of them, of course, have been on with me on Golf Talk Live, but there were a few that were here with us in that. But I'm going to stop that now and stop boring everybody to death and welcome you back, of course. And before we bring on our guest here in a little while, we've got some time left still this morning to talk about your experience at French Lick, your run at the Senior LPGA Championship, and of course it was the inaugural Senior LPGA Championship. So first off, tell us a little bit about your experience there, and then we'll go from there.
Well, the course hasn't changed. It still haunts people. And if you look at the scores from yesterday's round, you will conclude that with me. But it's so beautiful. It's just so beautiful, and it really is magical. And the people are just amazing. So you're kind of lured, and this golf course is kind of like a demon that says, just bring it. Try to tame me. And the only one that tamed it yesterday was Trish Johnson and Carolyn Hill. And Carolyn is my buddy, and in fact, I played a practice round with her the day before, Sunday, before the first round, and she still got the same beautiful golf swing she had when we were in college on the same golf team at the University of Miami, and she shot 71 yesterday, and Trish Johnson shot 5 under. So you want to say, okay, where did she play? Anyway, so it's just absolutely beautiful. If you don't trust where you're aiming and what you're doing, don't bother playing. And even if you do, what happens is when you hit a shot into the green in the wrong spot, it ricochets into La La Land. And so, and then you're dead, and you've committed murder on yourself. So it's just, you know, a lot of people shot 80. To be honest with you, I don't have the computer up because I'm driving again. I'm like the road warrior. But anyway, I think 74 is in the top 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I remember, Cindy, that you said when we had I believe it was Brendan Sweeney from French Lick on the show. We were talking about the course itself, and you said that there are a lot of, to say the least, some hills and valleys, and that's just in the greens. That's not even in the fairway. So it's a very challenging course. Let me ask you something. I want to talk a little bit about, well, we've got time here still, about the course setup. I know Brendan talked a little bit about that. And what was your strategy, if you had a specific strategy going into this event to try and make a run at it?
Well, you need to know where to miss it. And then you need to be able to hit it there. And that's probably the two biggest things. And I've played it a lot. And I don't hit the ball well enough to miss it where I want to miss it. And that's the issue. So I played, I ended up being first alternate, and no one withdrew, and nobody got sick, and I felt like I shouldn't really try to take somebody out. So I didn't get to play, and I'm sad about that. On the other hand,
right,
I did get to practice an awful lot. I played 27 holes a day leading up to it, and I'm grateful that I had the time to practice and see everybody. And I'm hoping that next year I'll be able to play. But you have to know where to miss it, and then you have to be able to get it up. And it's just so demanding. And if our listeners are able to, it will be on the Golf Channel live this afternoon and tomorrow from 4 to 6 p.m. And you can see. I mean, again, I had to wait till the last tee time teed off yesterday I had to be there at 7, and I waited until 1:15, and I got in the car and drove 10 hours home. So I did not get to watch it at all last night. But I must tell you, Alan said that you could see on 18, they did move the tees up. Carolyn told me that she was able to reach 18 and 2, which would have been unheard of the last few years because they never played the tee that far up. So I believe what they'll do, the LPGA Tour officials will move those tees way up today because it just doesn't look good when 2/3 of the field shoot 80 and above.
Yeah, and you know what? Realistically, when you're playing on a tough golf course like that, you've got to find a way of balancing it out a little bit. If it becomes too, everybody always says, well, they're pros, they can handle it, and that's true to a certain degree. They can certainly maybe handle it better than most out there, but at the same time, it has to be a fair competition. So I think that's smart on the officials' part to make that change. And hopefully, I'm sure they'll end up doing that, as you said.
The cart, we can take a cart, and only one person can ride, either the caddy or the player. And the cart paths, getting on and off the paths, are so severe that one of the caddies in our group says people break their legs, their ankles, and their arms and their wrists and flip carts over weekly there.
Wow.
It's like, I mean, it's scary. I thought I was going to flip the cart over. You have to be very, very careful. So again, my hope was some of these really, really old people would want to withdraw, but nobody did. But I bet they wish they would have now.
Yeah, in other words, it might be better to ride a mountain goat or something to get yourself around there. No, it's a fantastic course, and obviously it's has challenges not only on the golf course, but just getting around the golf course can be a challenge in itself. Let me ask you, I guess, a simple question. In your mind, Cindy, do you feel that you were as prepared as you needed to be? I mean, obviously you indicated some areas that give you trouble in that, but do you feel in your mind that you were as prepared as you could be to go into this event?
For what I do for a living, okay, one of the girls there said she'd been playing 54 holes a day in the heat in Palm Springs to prepare to play. And I thought, well, isn't that nice? Because I'm given 60 or 70 golf lessons a week. So
right.
In that respect, no, because I have a real job. On the other hand, was I as prepared as I could have been for all the other things that I do? Yes. And I must tell you that I was lucky enough yesterday to see Sandra Haney, who we need to get as a guest on our show. And she's like the calm whisperer, like Kathy Whitworth is. And I told her a couple things I was thinking, and she really helped me out. She's just awesome. And I believe it was a blessing that I was there for a week, trapped like a rat. I couldn't do anything. I did everything I could to get into the tournament, and I didn't.
Right.
I wasn't able to play. And so, again, like I said, I hit balls, I chipped, I putted, I hit sand shots. I played 27 holes a day. I played with people. I played by myself. I did everything I possibly could have, and I left there feeling really good about me and my game. So I have no regrets other than the fact I wish I would have been able to play, but don't think I'm quitting, because I'm not.
Right. So that's a perfect lead into this question then, Cindy, is what about your game did you take away from your experience at French Lick? What was it? What was some of the energy? You pointed out just a minute ago some of it, but overall, what did you take away from that experience?
Well, I played a practice round Sunday with Myra Blackwelder and Carolyn Hill, and Myra has not played in a tournament in years, and Carolyn plays 3 tournaments a year, and everybody has other jobs, and they played on the tour for a long time, which I did not. I only played for 3 years, so I've been working for a long time, and I was never as good as they were, okay? So I'm always seeking to find out how I can improve. I am always willing to look in the mirror and see some things about myself that I may not want to see. And what I witnessed and observed is they are not thinking about their golf swing at all. And they know what their golf swing is. And they just showed up and swung.
Right.
All of their strategy was, where should I hit this? And they didn't get upset if they missed it, because they realized that, realistic expectations again. So when I went out yesterday, I had to be there. I got there at 6:30 in the morning, and I had to sit there and wait all day long, to hope that somebody withdrew. So I hit a lot of balls. And I thought, you know what, just swing. Just swing. Swing the way it feels good, and don't think so much. And part of my weakness is because I'm such a high D personality, driven, competitive, working on things all the time, and then I've got a little bit of the perfectionist in me, I'm really my own worst enemy. And it's not because I'm trying to mess up, it's because I'm trying to get better. So sometimes I'm looking for things that really aren't there. And what I left with, it's funny because I was hitting balls, and one of my old caddies, Jerry Aiken, whose nickname is Speedway, and my nickname when I was on tour, we had, remember the CB radios?
Yes.
Way back when? Yeah, in your car. Well, so I was the Buffalo Bomber, and he was Speedway. And we used to drive down, from tournament to tournament, and we would talk on the Speedway. Hey, Bomber, where are you, Bomber? Where's the Buffalo Bomber? Buffalo Bomber here, and this is Speedway. And so it's so fun because he caddied for Sandra Palmer in the honors division the day before. Didn't have a player for the tournament. And I said, well, I don't have a caddy, and I didn't really want to pay for Alan to fly out to hope that I get in. So I said, well, why don't you hang out with me, and if I get in, and you can caddy. He said, okay, great. So I was standing there hitting balls, and I said, am I picking it up? And he goes, a little bit. Sweep it back more. So I swept it back more, and I stood there hitting balls, and some guy walked up. He goes, oh, my God, you're just hitting it so good. What time do you tee off? And I said, well, I don't have a tee time. I'm an alternate. And it just felt so good. And when Sandra came over and she said, it's awesome. Shut up. It's fine. I'm like, okay. Good. She didn't quite say it that mean because she's calm, cool, and collected. But so what I got was, you know what, my swing is okay. Let's just go swing. And so I'm very, very fortunate. I'm going to play the LPGA National Teaching Championship. I'm playing in the BJ's Charity Classic. I'm playing in the Regional Stroke Play Championship in Daytona in November. And I am not dead yet. And I am really looking forward to me being me. Whatever happens, happens. But I'm just thrilled. So that's what I learned. I learned that my golf swing's okay.
Cindy, I think what's important, and you really touched on it a moment ago, you have a specific personality. And I think one of the dangers of trying to change who you are sometimes can be, I think, more detrimental than working with what you have. It's much like the golf swing. Everybody's golf swing is different. I think one of the problems that we see is, people trying to change their swing to match somebody else's swing because they think, well, that's going to bring them success. But it maybe doesn't work with their body style or their body type as efficiently. And that just adds to the frustration. One thing I like about you, and I know it's frustrating, is that you know who you are. You're very confident about who you are. You know what your limitations are. You certainly strive to improve in certain areas, but you don't try to change who you are as an individual in order to meet some other higher standard. And I think that's important. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but I think maybe my downfall, and this is going to sound funny, is almost being too willing to see what's wrong when maybe there's nothing wrong. And what do I mean by that? I think part of it is being married to Alan and being, him being the second purest ball striker that Dale's ever tested, and me always trying to perfect. And it's almost like it's okay. What you've got is fine.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, maybe what you've got is okay. You don't need to work on that. Maybe you need to work on feel or tempo. So when Carolyn got done yesterday, she was the first group off, and she shot 1 under par, and she was leader in the clubhouse. And so I said, it really helped me playing a practice round with you guys because I've been on search and scan for 20 years, well, 40 years really, but
right.
And she said, Cindy, all I ever work on, I said, you don't even think about your swing, do you? And she said, no. All I work on is pace. I try to swing at 50%. I swing at 100%. I swing at 80% because I always want to swing at 80% because that's where my sweet spot is. And I'm like, okay. So it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. And I think that is huge. And so it's like, okay, I want to go play golf today. And that's funny because I could be depressed and, oh, my God, you didn't get in, and the inaugural was on the Golf Channel. Well, I can't do anything about that. So, and the demons could say, you suck, you're not good enough, and I'm not going there. I'm going to work on what I got to do, and if it's only to satisfy my own personal quest, then that's the case.
That's right. And when in doubt, Cindy, let's just blame it on Alan. It's his fault. So, all kidding aside, Alan, if you're listening, I apologize. Only kidding.
No,
all right, so,
he'll be fine.
I see. Yeah. I see. Gia is in the wings. Excuse me. So let me just introduce her. We'll bring her on into the conversation as well. As I mentioned earlier, folks, our very special guest this morning with Cindy and I is Gia Bocra Liwski. She's a Class A LPGA professional and founder of Golf Experiences for Her. And here's just a little bit more background. She's been doing this for more than 20 years of teaching experience, in beginning her 8th season as the teacher professional at the Hamilton Farm Golf Club in Gladstone, New Jersey. So she's a northerner as well, and has been noted as one of Golf Digest's best young teachers in America. Her new venture, Golf Experiences for Her, marries learning the game of golf with high-end lifestyle events, creating a very special and sophisticated day for women. Her instruction has been featured in some great publications like Golf for Women, Golf Fitness Magazine, Links Golf Week, and Jersey Golfer. And she's also been featured in other numerous online resources. Additionally, she's traveled the globe as host of several golf and lifestyle television programs. She has a unique perspective on the game and all that surrounds it. Her instructional approach is biomechanical based and clearly communicated, as she puts it, and teaches her students to swing the golf club to the way their individual body does best. And she's got a great personality, which of course is needed in this industry because it helps relax your clients and your students. So without further hesitation, Cindy, let's bring out a very special guest this morning, Gia Bocra Liwski.
Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're doing great. How are
We're
you?
doing very well.
Good.
Gia, let me ask you just the obvious question first and foremost. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
No, you were so close. Good job. No, it's Bocra Liwski, but it's fine. You did a great job. Thank you.
I spent up half the night. I went online and I looked at that, so my apologies.
No, it's fine.
Gia, let me just ask you first and foremost, I think just tell the folks a little bit how you got into the golf industry. What was some of the, the things that led you to this business and golf in general? How did you start?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I wasn't a country club kid. I didn't play golf like a lot of the women in the industry when they, were 5, 6, 7 years old. I started as a teenager, 15, 16 years old, and I was a basketball player, planning on playing basketball in college, and took some golf lessons with my brother from a really nice, talented golf professional in Florida, and kind of got hooked. And he was really great with me. He said, "You know what? If you worked on it a little bit," he goes, "I bet you we can get you to play in college." And sure enough, he helped me get into school, get a golf scholarship. But I barely knew what I was doing. I was, kind of faking it around the course until just figuring it out, and got hooked up with some really great local golf professionals in New Jersey. When I was 17, I started working at a country club, worked my summers through college, cleaned carts, filled divots, cleaned balls, picked a range, started teaching juniors when I was about 20, 19, 20. Actually, I met Krista Dunton, who's a top female professional who Cindy knows really, really well, when I was 17. So she's been a good friend and a good mentor. And went to school for broadcast journalism, and ended up choosing to teach. I found that I was a decent communicator. I thought the golf swing was really interesting. I thought the game was really hard and challenging, and I wanted to figure out, how to become a better player, how to become a better teacher. I wasn't a great player in college. I really didn't know what I was doing, but I was intrigued and curious and wanted to learn more.
Where did you go to school?
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah. I played 2 years for South Alabama in Mobile, which is interesting because I'm from New Jersey, so going down south was a kind of an eye-opener in the early to mid-'90s. And I learned it was really interesting. Yeah, I learned a lot, though. It was great. It was a Robert Trent Jones golf course. It was pretty new. It was on the trail. It was Magnolia Grove, and it was very challenging. I learned and decided to, after 2 years, come home. It was just a little too different down there for me. And I walked on the Rutgers team, got a golf scholarship, and played for Rutgers for 2 years. And I had a ball at Rutgers. Great time. Really, really good experience.
Yeah, definitely different experience for sure. And what's kind of unique, Gia, is this that you said that in your earlier comments that you weren't sort of the typical golfer that started at 5, 6, 7 years old and playing at home. It was much later that you actually picked up the game or were introduced to the game. And most of the people in this industry tend to have, whether their parents played or family members played and started very early on. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know how much of the earlier part of the conversation you picked up on with Cindy and I, but of course Cindy was at the French Lick Resort in Indiana making a run at the Senior LPGA Championship. And towards the end of the conversation, I wanted to ask her what she sort of took away from that experience. I'm sure some of the students that you work with may play in various tournaments or maybe a club championship or maybe on their high school team or college team. What advice do you give them when they're preparing for that special event leading up to that? What do you normally try to get in their mind and put in their mind before they head out to play for whatever event it might be?
Yeah, I'm hoping that they'd trained enough where they felt really comfortable and confident with what they were doing with their golf swing. Like Cindy said, that Myra Blackwelder never really thought about her golf swing. I'm hoping that they had put the work in ahead of time so that when they did get on the golf course and they were ready to perform, that they could breathe a little and they could kind of pick a spot, swing at it, find it, and hit it again. I just talk to them to get them to relax a little bit and hope give them enough confidence ahead of time that going into the events that they're prepared.
Yeah, great advice. Now, also one of the things that you do, we're going to talk a little bit about the business that you're doing now. But before we do that, I want to ask you another question. I scanned through your website here recently just to kind of look at some things to get some questions together for Cindy and I. And one of the things I noticed that you had talked about on there was that despite the fact that many of the golf clubs today, even though they have female professional staff, that you feel that in some ways they're missing the boat a little bit. What do you think clubs can do? And we'll talk a little bit later on with your business and how you're using that to incorporate that. But what are some things that, just from what you've observed, that the courses and clubs could do to maybe better utilize their female professionals, and not only in that respect, but also attract more female members and get them more engaged?
Yeah, I think it's hard. And it depends on what type of club you're at, or resort or venue. But I think it's hard sometimes to get the women to want to come out, because they learn so differently just at the get go. Where men will come out, they kind of follow their buddies around if they're learning the game for the first time, or they they read a little bit, they watch golf on television, and they come out and they kind of just do it. Women, they want to feel empowered, they want to feel knowledgeable, they want information, and they don't want to feel stupid. So, to get them out here, you have to have a nice, first of all, you have to have a golf professional that's going to really, and I don't want to baby this at all for the women, but you have to handhold a little bit. You really need them to get to know you. Like, I think what helps sometimes is that, we talk about lots of other things on the driving range. It's not just about golf. So it's getting them to relax, getting them to know you. So going back to your question, like how do they, I think they need to create programs that allow women to not, it can't just be about golf, because golf is challenging and it is scary for some people, and you have to be able to offer them other things and other ways to kind of get to know the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I agree wholeheartedly, and I think too, and this might be a very simple way of putting it, but I think it's the truth. I think for men, we're used to kind of making fools of ourselves a lot of the time, so I guess we've gotten used to it over the generations. But I think men, women are more self-conscious about not wanting to look foolish or feeling like they're overwhelmed with something. They're just more conscious of their feelings. Where men, hey, throw caution to the wind if we look a little foolish or if we look a little stupid out in the golf course. That's just fodder for our buddies to tease us or razz us about, at the 19th hole. Where women have a much different approach to that. So it is very important, when you're doing that. And again, I'm not, as you pointed out, we're not trying to oversimplify the process, but I think that they are two different groups, and I think you have to handle them differently. And I think one of the problems at this industry, and Cindy, I think you would probably agree with this, for a long time is they were treating sort of both the same, and I don't think you can do that. Would you agree with that, Cindy, and what are your thoughts on what Gina just talked about?
I totally agree, and I think Gia's hit the nail on the head. And people want to be invited. They don't want to be intimidated, and their fear of embarrassment is typically huge. And women can be very, very catty and not welcoming. And I think a lot of women from private clubs that I've learned anyway, they're so cliquey that if you don't have a friend to go with, you might feel like the outsider, and they're not really that warm and welcoming. So to have someone, grab you by the hand and say, come on, let's go, we're going to have some fun, and we're going to do some other things along with just learning to play, I think that would, that's got to be the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cindy said, like, warm. When you think warm, women, they want to feel welcomed, and they want to feel, that there's a collaboration. They don't want to feel like the outsider, like Cindy said. So, if you can create a warm environment for the women, and I think that's, we'll talk about it, but I think that's kind of why I started this business, is because I feel like, I get to know these ladies a little bit. I get to understand what's in their headspace, and get to understand, like, where they are. It's not just about, let's get on the lesson tee, let's do this, move this hand, do this, and make this backswing. It's really about, like, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What have you done? Have you played sports before? What's your body history? It's making them feel a little more warm fuzzy, so where they want to open up to you, and then they kind of open up to the game.
And then they feel like you really can. If you're a woman who works and you have children and you have a house and a husband and all that, you don't need another pain in the butt. You need something that's going to be fun. I mean, you don't need something that, oh, God, I don't even want to do this. It's painful. So you've got to make this welcoming and warm, as we said, and it's got to be fun, and they got to feel like it's a getaway rather than a torture chamber.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, you've founded Golf Experiences for Her, so tell us a little bit about, Gia, on that respect. Tell us a little bit about how that came about. How did you come up with the concept for that business? And then also explain a little bit about some of the different Her events that you offer through the programs.
Well, I've been thinking about this business for years, actually, but I wasn't really, I think, in broad strokes, so it was kind of big at first, and I wasn't really sure how to kind of bring it home and make it local. So it took me a little while, and in the meantime, I got married, had babies, and I have these small babies now at home, and my priorities kind of shifted. I could no longer work at a golf club 60 hours a week. I needed to kind of think outside the box and come up with something that worked in my life. And I think that's a challenge for a lot of women in the industry, is that there's, certain jobs that are out there, and you have to kind of fit in that, and if it doesn't work for you, you can't kind of stay in that job. So I went in another direction. Hamilton Farm has been awesome. They have worked with me, and they've been so great with allowing me to create and do some cool stuff. So Golf Experiences for Her came out of spending hours on the lesson tee, working with men, women, and children, but women specifically, understanding that they want more than just golf information. They want to have fun. It was kind of like networking. I was kind of, getting them to this trainer, and I was sending them to this hairdresser, and they were getting this massage from this masseuse. And so I was really kind of connecting a lot of the people I know. And then on top of that, I was able to tap into some of the things that I'm more passionate about, which is cooking and wine and learning new things, trying new things. And I think that's important for women because we juggle so many things in our lives, and we put everybody else first. And these days were created to give them a special opportunity to focus on them. So I do. I married a little bit of golf instruction. We sit down. We have a great breakfast. There's mimosas, and we talk. I talk to them for a good 30 minutes. They talk to me most of the time, telling me about themselves, about their golf games, their histories, what they want to do. And then we work for a little bit. I do a great body assessment. Mike Adams and E.A. Tischler, their biodynamics models are amazing, and I've worked with them. And so I give everybody an assessment, and I teach them that it's okay to be you. It's okay to swing like this. Your body looks like this. Your golf swing is not going to look like everybody else's. And they get comfortable, and their eyes kind of widen, and they're like, okay, cool, it's good. And then we do have a great lunch. I work with the chefs. We have a beautiful seasonal lunch, wine pairings. And then I bring in a great lifestyle expert. So I bring in a style concierge, somebody to work on our fashion, or I bring in a sommelier or a mixologist or a photographer to teach us cool things about our smartphones that all these young kids know about that we don't. So how to take a great selfie, how to make our pictures look really cool. And then gifts. Women love gifts. Like, it's all about the details for women. So I make sure that they walk away with some really fabulous swag, and they feel like somebody really paid attention to them. So it makes them feel good, and it makes me feel good. I walk away from these days thinking, wow, that was really great. So not only great for them, but I felt really good about the day. So they're special. They're really great. Sorry, I just threw up on you.
No, that's perfect. That's exactly what we were looking for. Gia, I think one of the things too that a lot of people misunderstand, and I think it's not just in golf instructing, but you pointed out very eloquently in what you just talked about. But I think that women are very good communicators, and they like to create a scenario where there's an opportunity to exchange information with one another. And it sounds to me like what you're proposing here with your business is just that. Again, it's not just about coming out and learning how to play golf and butting up with other women to play golf, but it's also an opportunity for women to exchange information and ideas and share things and just have a social event, if you will, even if it's only a couple of hours long. And I think that this is something that the industry as a whole needs to realize, that, again, they can't just put everybody in the same box. And men are entirely different. We can go out and just play, 3-4 hours or whatever it happens to be, a round of golf, or even just play a quick 9, and we're quite content. Most women are not going to do that on a regular basis. They're just not. And I think that for the industry to sort of focus solely on that is a big mistake. Cindy, I know that you also work with a lot of juniors, which is also something else that's important to women as well. Women like to, follow what their kids are doing and things like that. So what's been some of the feedback, Cindy, that you've had from parents with some of the juniors they have, and how has that helped them get more interested in the game as well? That was for you, Cindy.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, sorry. All right, I'll make a short version then.
I was going through
what
the
I was saying
booth. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Cindy's on the road here, so we have to apologize.
We're spinning juggling.
Yeah, definitely don't want any accidents. No, basically what I was saying is, very quickly was, Gia talked about, the importance of really creating an event for women, and not just about instruction or just about playing golf. And my question to you, Cindy, was, I know that you also work with a lot of juniors as well as regular golfers, and what's some of the feedback that the women give you, the mothers give you, that of the children that you're working with, and how do you sort of use that to get the women more involved in out there playing golf as well by, working with their kids?
I really don't even try to do that. I just show the kids, the kids need to have fun. And I am a little strange, which most of our viewers or listeners know, And I'm really trying to just speak to the kids within their own personality style, just like Gia said. Our customers are the most important things. And when you make them feel important and you really pay attention to them, it's different, because most golf pros, I hate to say it, don't do that. And so when you pay attention to them, they know that you care. And when you care, they're going to enjoy themselves more. And that's what I think the biggest issue is here. And Gia is listening to the customer, and she's giving them what they're asking for. And that's, end of story right there. There you go. So I commend you for starting this. I think it's a great idea. And I'm trying to figure out how I can bring you to Buffalo, and we'll have a big dash up here. Because I think it's so important. And it's not how they hit the ball. It's whether or not they enjoy themselves.
It's true. No, you're right.
Yeah, I think, Gia, and I'm sure I think you'd probably agree with this as well. I think that women are less concerned about the quest for the perfect golf swing as they are about having an enjoyable experience. Is that a fair assessment, do you think?
Yeah, you have those women that are competitive and that, are more students of the game and that maybe played in college, or that's a totally different group. But, this group of women, and you can even go the business direction. Like you were talking about, exchanging information. Like, what I'm hoping is that, law firms, think about all these, these lawyers and their clients. They want trust. They want things to networking. They want to know, get to know their clients. So this is a great opportunity in an environment totally outside of their element, where they can get to know each other on so many different levels, and they get to, not be so worried about, hitting a golf ball. It's definitely a less intimidating way to approach it.
What would you say, Gia, is because obviously you do listen very well to your customers, Nat. What are some of the biggest complaints that women have said to you, not about obviously what you're doing, but when they go to a golf course, especially maybe for the first time, there's a certain amount of uneasiness. They don't know what to expect. What's some of the more common complaints that you hear that maybe could benefit some of our professionals that are listening to the show as well? It's not just students that are listening, but other our fellow golf professionals that we could take away from that. What are some of the complaints that they're getting on how they feel in their first impressions coming into a golf environment?
I think customer service is always number one. And when you go to the top, resorts and top country clubs, the customer service is beyond ridiculous. They train their staff. They have, they have things in their ears, and they're running around, and they're making sure that everybody's name is known. With these ladies, when they come in, you walk them to their locker room. You make sure you don't tell them where it is. You walk them there. You really go out of your way. You make sure, like, if I have a new woman coming to me, I can either send an email or call them and let them know that we're a non-tipping golf club. Here's what happens when you get to the gate. Here's what happens when you get to the valet. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to take your bag. You're going to go inside. There's a concierge. Again, it's not dumbing it down by no means, but it's making them feel warm, welcome, and just, opening it up. And I do. I think that some of the guys that they're and women that they're bringing in really need to be trained properly. Answering the phones, knowing what to say, knowing how to say it politely, please and thank you. I have young children now. My daughter was taking ballet lessons from a young woman. She was probably 26, 27 years old. She never would say please and thank you to the children. And I'm like, it was, please go here. It would be move here, do this. It's the same thing. It's a total reflection on everything. So you want to really be speaking to whomever it is, the men or women, but making them feel that, what can I do? Just going above and beyond, and it takes 2 seconds. It is so simple, but it's not done enough.
Gia, you raise a very interesting point, and Cindy, I know that you'll concur with this as well. And it goes back to what you said earlier about the attention to detail. But that's a very valid point that you just raised. There's a lot of people, and it's not just women but men as well, but those new to the golf business or to golf in general, they really don't know what to expect. and they get there, they don't know, like you talked about tipping and, what to do with your golf bag, and you just sort of drop it off or throw it out of the trunk, or does somebody take it? Just these little things, this attention to detail can make an experience, a whole different, kettle of fish, if you will. And I think that this is something as well that as professionals that we need to let our students know is what to expect when they pull up to the door. And we need to make sure that it's consistent as well for everybody. It's not just, for some and not for others, because that, sells a lot as well. So are those things that you try to do in your programs as well?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I definitely want to make sure that they're knowing what's going on and giving good explanation and description. And is that what you were looking for? I'm trying to feel that question out a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted is basically, do you help them with sort of just the simple things, when they arrive at the golf facility, what they should be expecting and what they should and should not do? Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, that's
I go
perfect.
so far as I send them, whoever comes to my golf experiences, I send them a pre-event questionnaire. And again, this has been so organic. I'm still kind of, working on it, but I send them a questionnaire ahead of time, and I find out what are their favorite colors. What do they like to eat? Do they have food allergies? Do they have, and these are, really specifics. What are their goals for the day? Do they have any body limitations? Just some basic questions. I have them answer them simply, so I have a little something to work off of. And then I make sure if they love chocolate, there's going to be something offered chocolate for lunch. If they have a food allergy, I'm going to make sure the chef knows that we can't serve something like this. And those are things that country clubs or golf clubs that can be doing as well. You need to know your members. You need to know your customers. You really should have this stuff on file. Because when Mr. Smith walks in the door and he likes bullet bourbon, you better have bullet bourbon behind the bar.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point.
I think service. Yeah, I think the details are key. I think people walk away. I think the details are really key. I think people walk away, I want them obviously on my lesson tee and learning something good about themselves and about the game, but I think they walk away feeling like they were wanted at the club. And that's how you're going to retain members, and that's how you're going to bring the members' wives over, and that's how they're going to become, family memberships, and that's how you're going to get upgrades. There's a lot to it, and you really need to be knowing who you're working with.
Gia, how can the folks that are listening to the show, we've got to wrap it up unfortunately, but how can the folks, if they want to learn more about that, where can they go? Is there a website that they can visit to learn more about that and learn more about you in general?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm at Hamilton Farm in Gladstone, New Jersey. My website is golfexperiencesforher.com. And I'm open to going to other golf clubs where I can work with the professional staff there and their F&B. And they're welcome to come to Hamilton Farm. It just depends on the situation. And obviously Hamilton Farm's private and very special, and so it's situational. But I'd be more than happy to get in contact with anyone. My email and information is on the website. And I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Well, we appreciate you
so
joining
much.
us this morning and sharing that with us. And Gia, you're welcome to come back anytime. We'd love to have you again to discuss things a little bit further. And again, very quickly, the website, Gia, just for those that want to get in touch with you or maybe learn a little bit more.
Sure. It's golfexperiencesforher.com. And,
perfect.
Yeah. Thanks, Cindy. I'm sorry you didn't get into the tournament, Cindy.
Oh, that's okay. Live and learn. Thanks, honey. I'm going to get in touch with you.
She had funny.
Please.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Gia, very much for joining us this morning on the Women of Golf. We appreciate it very much. And much continued success. It sounds like you've got a great business model there. And any way that we can do things in this industry to help grow the game and get more people that normally wouldn't show up at the doors, I think is a great thing. So job well done.
For sure. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, Cindy, just so many areas of golf that I think that still there's always room for improvement. We've talked about this before on the show, and that's not to, meant as a criticism to say that they're not doing it, but I think that anything that we can do to make the experience more enjoyable, especially in this day and age where there's so many other draws on people's time, and so many other things taking people's attention, we have to step up our game, if you will, and not just on the instructional side, so everywhere around. So, Cindy, I know that you're traveling and on the road, so and we've got to wrap it up anyways, but we will be back here next week, Cindy and I, here on blogtalkradio.com's Women of Golf, and we enjoyed having you this morning and our very special guest, Gia, and we'll have another great guest next week. And Cindy, good luck this week, and I know you've got back to the grindstone, if you will, but anyways, glad that you had an enjoyable experience at French Lick, and I know you'll do even better next year.
Thanks, Ted. Have a great week.
All right. God bless everybody. We'll talk to you next week here on the Women of Golf.